Hi there, I'm Melisa Nielsen. I just want to talk to you today about helping the phlegmatic or melancholic mom deal with the choleric or sanguine child. So in our house, we have this dynamic where I teach some of the days, Eric teaches some of the days. Eric is phlegmatic with a heavy dose of sanguine. I'm definitely choleric with a heavy dose of sanguine. So what I do is I listen often to the interaction that he has with Soraya, our youngest that he's teaching right now, and how that goes for him through the week. And she's definitely a mini-me in so many ways. So many ways. She's definitely she's got the sanguine thing going. She's very loud, very happy, very much fills the room with her presence. She definitely has the choleric piece in that you tell her to do something, generally she'll do it, but she has to trust you, right? It has to be this space where you're seeing eye to eye and you're on this path together. So what I have noticed is when I'm teaching, she'll follow me. When Dad's teaching, sometimes they have this struggle to get into the groove. So I was really thinking about all of the families that we work with that are either, the parent is either melancholic or phlegmatic, and they're really struggling with those super sanguine or super bossy choleric children, and how do they harness that space? Because here's the funny thing, she will do things with him that she would never do with me, ever. And so one of the things that he's working on continually to refine himself is how do you get to that space where she doesn't do those things with you. And on the flip side, and I've talked about this in other videos, as a choleric parent, I have to really be careful with my other children. So I have children that are phlegmatics and children that are melancholic. And so Soraya and I are it's my groove, right? Because she and I are both the same temperament, and that can be a problem. You could be butting heads, but often it's more like just bringing it down and getting busy. Where with the others, I have to be careful that my choleric, bossy side isn't tearing them down, isn't refining them too quickly, isn't in a space where they're feeling like mom is talking at me all the time and I'm confused and it's scary. I don't want my children to ever be in that space. So this temperament refining place is, I think, a super humbling place to be. And maybe I need to do another video later on how to come to that space as a choleric parent. But I will tell you that as I've grown, especially in the last 10 years, I'm 47, almost 48, there are so many things that I have just watched myself chip away at, that if you had asked me at 37, I'd have been like, I can't do that. But you can, you absolutely can. If I could go back and tell my 37-year-old self anything, it would be like, hey, chill out, take a deep breath, because it'll be okay. You're gonna do things that you didn't expect to do, but it will be okay. So back to this phlegmatic, melancholic parent. So what I'm going to tell you is the number one important thing when you're working with any children, whether they're choleric, sanguine, phlegmatic or melancholic, is you have to really pay attention to how you show up. The choleric and the sanguine child will not follow you if you're not present, owning the space. You have to own the space. So if you regularly don't feel like you own the space in your parenting, then you want to definitely look at that, because you want to show up in a way that allows that child to trust you. And if you are phlegmatic or melancholic and you have phlegmatic or melancholic children, they'll generally just follow you because of that's that part of their temperament. A melancholic child will follow you often out of love and devotion for you. The phlegmatic child will generally do what you need them to do, but it might feel like pulling a donkey up the hill. Again, it depends on how you command the space and how you connect with those children. But that choleric and sanguine child, they need you to just bring it and to show up. So that really means a couple of things. One, you have to have your planning in order. You have to. Because the choleric child will just stop trusting you, and the sanguine child will just run off and do something else. So you really want to have that piece honed. You really want to know, okay, so what is it that we're doing today? So I look at, every morning I look at my Plan for Peace journal, even if Eric's teaching. I look at it and I go, okay, yeah, that's what we're doing today. Even though I looked at it yesterday, I want to make sure I've got all the pieces there, everything's laid out, and we're ready to go. So you really want to keep that in mind with that choleric child. And if that's a choleric sanguine child, which is the most popular pairing, you're going to sort of see a child that wants to run off and do something else. If it's a child that is showing up purely sanguine, then getting their little feet to the ground is going to be a challenge. So you want to not be trying to figure out your day while they're floating off somewhere else. So again, make sure your plans are like succinct and tight, and you know exactly what you're doing. So, and then show up the way you need to show up. So that means you are centered. That means that you are, you're not bogged down by other things. And of course, I know as a parent, you're always bogged down by other things, but it's about how you can like get yourself into the space and be aware and be, really holding that space for your children. And that really just comes from knowing what's going on, knowing how to really command that area. And if that's something that's new to you or something that you have not done before, it's going to take some time for you to really feel like you're owning it. And if you have a partner that is choleric or sanguine, I would say, can you help me with this? Because I feel like I need to really own this space. Now, one of the things that I often see in a partnership with a choleric parent and a phlegmatic parent is it can become a power struggle, because the choleric parent can be like, why are you letting the children walk all over you? And the phlegmatic or melancholic parent's like, I don't want to, I can't figure it out. So it's about like asking nicely, can you please help me, without them overwhelming you. So one of the things that Eric and I have done is I've just observed. So when I observe though, I don't observe in the space. I observe like far away. So our office is upstairs and we have a very open floor plan, so I can hear what's going on and I can hear his struggles with her. And so it allows me to then to come alongside and say, so tell me about what was going on when when I heard you say X, Y, and Z. And that allows him then to step back and think about it. So we don't want to overwhelm you. Like, that's the thing I want you to tell your choleric or sanguine partner. Don't overwhelm me, but just observe and maybe give me some refining points. So then when you're with this child, you're centered, your lessons are on point, they're ready to go, you've spent the time. I want you to just start the lessons off right. So with that, you've had your gathering, right? So if you've had a circle and you've been, things have been exciting and kind of crazy with the movement, and you've made your trees and, you've done all your finger plays, you've done all of that. And especially even with an older child, bring them in. You want to enroll them in this space with you. So you want to bring them in. And in order to do that, it's not the space out here. It's not the out breath. It's the in breath. So you're going to bring them into this space. And one of the things that I do is I take Soraya by the hands. Because even though I can be in this out-breath space with her, in order for us to get any work done, we need to be in the in-breath space together. So I take her hands and we just start by just breathing. I'll hold her hands and close my eyes. She closes her eyes. So we might breathe in and out 3 or 4 times. I might have her put her hand on her heart and just think about, and I'll hold the other hand, because if you let go, they're going to run away. I'll hold the other hand and just say, okay, now we're going to get ready to start school. Okay, let's just breathe for a second. We're going to have a really good school day. And I do that every time, because if I don't, then she's like a butterfly. If she's still having a hard time settling, we might do alternate nostril breathing. I don't do it a lot with little ones, but I do it if we need to. So the right side is this side that brings in the excitement, and the left side is more calming and mellow. This is a tip if you're getting ready to go to bed at night and you can't get yourself calm. just close the right nostril for a minute. And just breathe slowly out of the left side. It starts to slow your brain down. It slows your body down. And it helps you to come to a space where you can then start lessons. But then you have to make sure you are moving through each piece. So if we're doing a drawing together, and I know, like for instance, today I was thinking our lessons today, we were doing a more complex form drawing, and she finished hers really fast, which generally I will say, hey, you did that really fast. Let's slow down and see what else we can do. But in this case, she actually was pretty on point. And that happens. They're moving things really quickly. It seems like I had gotten my doorbell ring. That's what it was. Doorbell rang and I had to get up and get the package. And then by the time I came to sit down, she was just about finished. And I was still working on mine. And I try not to leave things undone, even in my own main lesson book. So I had something else. She's practicing cursive, had something else ready to hand her so that I could finish mine, so that she wasn't like wanting to run off. So you want to sort of front load that piece for your lessons. What is the next thing, so that you have it and you're ready to hand it off, so that you can have a nice flow. So I want you to keep that in mind sort of as you're going through. And just remember, this is a space of refining. It's not meant to be perfect. That would mean that we're not human beings. So you're in a space of refining and learning and carrying on and going on to the next space. And you can do this. I truly believe in you. I have to tell you, Eric has been teaching with me for, we've been teaching this thing together 5 or 6 years, where he's taught some days and I've taught some days. And this year he is teaching Monday and Friday, and I'm teaching Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Our son Sam is doing our school over at Seasons of 7, but he's still right there in that space with us. I'm still holding that space. And what I've noticed in all this time, as Eric has been willing to refine, his teaching has magnified. And that's what I want for you. But you have to be willing to refine. You have to be willing to be able to meet those children where they need you to meet them. You've got this. See you next time.